up, gets nothing effect, has that one taken away by Troy Hellman. It seems like this could be.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League Recap, a talk show focusing on the Overwatch League. I am BlazzinBob, and as usual, I'm joined by my trusty companion. What's up, Mel?
Hey, not much. I mean, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, so there's a lot going on.
Yep, that and haven't had a microwave that's worked for over a week and still a week out before that's going to be fixed. It's been years since I've had to live without a microwave, and I forgot how much you use that sucker for. So that's kind of a bummer.
It's been great.
Oh, man. But yeah, we like to start the show every time by thanking our recap producer, Shazir. Thank you so much for all of your continued support. This week, we're coming at you a little late. Sorry about that. We had some unforeseen problems, but we're going to get into it. We're just going to talk a little bit about the start of Overwatch, the new jerseys, some of the drama going on in the league with Dafran, and also possible the rumor of hero bans coming to the Overwatch League day one. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so first off, we're only 2 weeks away from the season, and I don't know if it's just, I don't know what it is, but it crept up on me this time or around compared to last time. Is it starting earlier? I think it's starting earlier than it did last year.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not positive on it.
Well, I think they took a longer break. And so I think it ended later.
Oh, it did. It did end later. I know that
but
is definitely true.
In just a second when it started last year.
Well, while Mel's looking that up, we're just going to mention that the new 2020 jerseys are out. And it looks like every team has a new jersey. They're all very samey from the looks of it to me. Like, there's not very much diversity in these. They all have like the name across the chest and kind of a bar. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if these are like, they haven't released yet. They said they'll release for pre-order on the 28th of January. But I'm not sure if they're going to be all almost exactly the same, just different colors, which will just be really weird for all the blue teams and the red teams.
I know. Yeah. Do we know if they're using the same company?
No, they got a whole new designer, and it's, oh gosh, what's his name? He's very, very popular, apparently. I had never heard of him.
It looks like the brand is Staple.
It's Jeff Staple, I'm pretty sure is his name. And he's like a streetwear designer. I don't know. He is apparently very, very big. And it's very cool that we got him, is what I read.
So far, I'm not liking what I see, but maybe that's just the boomer in me. You know what I mean?
I just hope they're better quality. The last ones were
they had
not
some
great.
Definite fails with the last one with the letters on the jerseys being the same color as the jersey. I don't even know how that gets out of the factory, like how that's even possible.
Yeah, I just mean like just the quality of the fabric and stuff just wasn't great. Like regardless of mishaps in printing or whatever, but just the fabric I feel like felt very cheap.
I don't know. The one that I got, I don't know if it was made by the same people, but the one that I got that has my custom name on the back, BlazzinBob, that one was really nice and still in really good shape. So I'm not sure. I think it was kind of hit and miss. They might have multiple factories nationwide. There might not be a standard going across those different factories. I'm just spitballing, though.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk a little bit about player burnout. You had a couple quotes from a couple people. I wanted to give you a second to read those, and then we can maybe talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, first of all, they started July 25th last year. So it is starting quite a bit earlier.
Yeah, that's a lot earlier.
So, yeah, it's all right. Um, less off season, I think is good.
Definitely.
So I guess there's been a lot of talk around just about a lot of players, retiring seemingly early or quitting Overwatch League or getting burnt out and things like that. And I think that on top of all of the talent leaving has been kind of a big talking point for a lot of people is like, is this even going to last? So many people are getting burnt out. The addition of travel is really going to kill people. And so there's a couple quotes that Michael Sun from Shanghai Dragons, former Shanghai Dragons, and then Andrew Kim formerly from LA Valiant and Florida Mayhem said, and they talked about. So Michael Sun said after 2 seasons, teams have a better idea on what to spend their money on and how much to spend, unlike some teams that have seen great success consistently. So he's referring to a lot of the team switches. So that's another thing that's really big right now is that a lot of the teams don't have very many players that they had last year.
Mm-hmm. A lot.
And yeah. So he said, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of teams are thinking they need to make the necessary changes. And this isn't his quote, but mine. I think that a lot of it is that they had 2-year contracts with a lot of these players, or they re signed them after the first year to another 1-year deal. And I think that now they just have a better idea of what they need.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams probably only did one year contracts. Unfortunately, I don't see until it's proven you get a contract really too long unless you're a star player with a lot of, sadly to say, Twitter followers, Twitch followers. Like, unless you're a brand of your own bringing extra to their team, like, there's not really a reason to sign more than 1 year deals.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another thing Andrew Kim was talking about was key factors for players to stay on teams would be a lot about the coach, the teammates, the salary, and where they're located. So a lot of that this past off season has been where do they want to live? And I
Yeah.
think that went into it probably a lot more than we even know. And so that had a part of it. He talks a lot about the head coach having a very influential presence in keeping players around if they want to, but I don't think all of these have been players leaving, or I don't think the other way around. I don't think they've all been let go either. I think there's been a mixture of both.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head when you said you think that or he said he thinks that a lot of it has to do with location, and location is huge. I mean, that's probably how Seoul grabbed the players that they grabbed. I mean, because it just doesn't make sense. Seoul hasn't had really any good success in the league. Like, you wouldn't be going there to try and win. You'd be going there because, hey, mom, I'm home. Like,
Right.
you want to be close to family, friends, and just quite frankly the culture that you're used to. Um,
I do feel like though this year it's going to be a little bit different because yes, they'll be based in Korea, but they're the only Korean team. So they're only really going to be there when they have homestands. They'll be closer when they go to, certain places,
yeah,
but
that is a good point.
there's not a lot of like time that they're going to be
Yeah, that's a
based
really
there.
good point.
I
Well,
think the
and then
Chinese teams had more of a pull,
because they're gonna be in China quite a bit.
right? There's 4 teams, especially the Charge has 5 homestands. Like I just feel like they're
Well,
the ones that have more of a benefit.
and something that's weird about the schedule, we could maybe talk a little bit about strength of schedule here. So strength of schedule is a good thing, I think, in a lot of sports, but it's okay, so like the NFL, like if you're the AFC, you will play teams that are in the NFC. You'll play them once every 4 years. So there's like a pattern there, and then you play, you know, you play 8 of your games against people in your division. So so you play half of your games against just the 3 other teams in your division. And so some years teams have way harder schedules than others. But what's weird with Al is, like, for instance, like I heard it on Tactical Crouch. Horseman was saying that the Outlaws have a 4 week break. Like, a 4 week break as compared to like most of the teams only have like a 2 week break, but they'll go 4 weeks where they don't even have a game.
I
I
don't
don't
know
see
that
how
that's
that's
true.
fair. I don't know if it's true either. I just heard it on Tactical Crouch. I was catching up on episodes, so I just heard it recently.
Oh, between week 5 and 9, they have 4 weeks between week 5 and 9. You're right.
And that's
But
just like that's so different. There's no like rhyme or reason to that. And so I don't really get the schedule going into this next season. The schedule's very weird to me and very off.
yeah, I guess, but I don't know about, I haven't looked at the schedule enough to be confident that, yeah, I guess, I think week 8 and 9, I don't know.
I don't know. You made a spreadsheet of it. Maybe we'll bench this conversation for next week, and you and I can have a look at that spreadsheet to give us a better view. Because I heard that and I was like, seriously, that seems a little crazy. So we'll
Well,
talk about that
maybe
later.
they just like the Outlaws and they're like, listen, guys, you need to get your shit together, pull out a couple wins this year.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So what do you think? Like, okay, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I just ate my words and forgot what I was trying to say. Oh, do you think that that it'll have an impact having, like, say, U.S. players on a Korean team like Seoul or one of the teams in China? Do you think it will have an impact having Chinese players on a Korean team? Or we've seen it doesn't really have much impact on fan base when Koreans are part of U.S. NA teams. So I was just curious what you thought on that.
Are you talking about team dynamics or are you talking
I'm
about
talking about
fan
fans.
support?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Thank you for helping
Mm,
me out there.
a lot of people have talked about this. Will Korean fans root for players if they're not Korean, or will Chinese fans root for players if they're not Chinese? And to be honest, I feel like there might be a little hesitation in the beginning just because of the types of fans that I think are going to go to esports events typically have been to other regional esports events that do have all of their players, but I don't think it will take long for them to just say, "Hey, this is my team." "Hey, the Hangzhou Spark is my team," even though it's a lot of different types of players. I don't think it'll take long for them to warm up to that idea, especially if they're good. Now, if they're bad, I think you may have a little bit more of a, delay to, people being excited about them because I feel like they can go watch other contenders Overwatch and probably get a more competitive game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. The team that really stuck out to me that I thought about when I was looking at this is France. Like France having more French people. I think, like, what do they call them? Frenchies. I think that's what AKM says. I'm not.
I don't know.
I hope that wasn't derogatory, but I could see them freaking out and not freaking out about having non-French players, but I could see the French players being the draw to those events because just looking at different events that were in France, like those fans are nuts. So,
You're talking like Paris specifically.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think though. I don't think the Paris fans. Is there a lot of French people on Paris anymore?
Yeah, yeah, they added another one. I forget who it was.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to restudy all of the rosters because it was literally musical chairs while we were gone, and
yeah.
everybody was going all over the place. So I'll definitely be caught up on that, but there's still more changes to be had. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll help their fan support, especially initially. You know what I mean? I think that their fan support initially is going to get kind of a bump up, and then it may drop back down if they don't do so well. But I think they'll all even out a few weeks into the season, halfway into the season,
yeah,
is my thought. Maybe I just think that people are going to be very nice.
yeah. How do you think travel is gonna mess with these guys? It's
It's
gonna
really
be
hard to
wild.
tell. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to have a lot to do with the management and the accommodations as they travel, right? So if there's a lot of changes and they're just stuck in a different hotel room or a different practice facility as they're traveling, I think it'll get to them really quickly. But if they can have a little bit of downtime, not a lot, but a little bit where they can go explore these new places, I think for a lot of them, it's going to be an exciting experience. I do think that burnout is going to be a little high, but they all know that going in. And I know it's going to be different once they experience it. I know right now they're all thinking it's exciting, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough.
Well, see, when everybody makes the argument that it's gonna be tough, I just think maybe it's gonna be tough for the older players that went through all the stuff in LA and have been just, constantly grinding this for 2 years, and then they're gonna be traveling all over the place. But these guys are young. I mean, like like everybody says, if you're gonna take a job that has you do a lot of travel, do it when you're young. You don't have kids. You don't have a lot of responsibilities at home. That's your time to see the world. So really, these
Right.
kids are
But
getting an opportunity of a lifetime. Like I would kill to
yeah.
travel to all these places over the next year. It would be unbelievable. And then to play video games on top of that, you got to be kidding me, right?
Well, okay. But just think about, I mean, we saw a lot of burnout for the kids playing video games that they enjoy when they weren't traveling, right? So I guess my thing is that yes, it sounds like a great opportunity. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's not the travel that's going to get to them, it's the frequency and the distance, I think. Going from China to Washington D.C. to Texas, I think is going to get to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is, but I think players just really need to sit back and look at where they're at and be like, wow, I'm going to get to travel a lot of places. And also, like, what kind of work could they be getting done on plane rides, on like a long plane ride? Like, what type of do you think they're buying up seats that are all close to each other so they can go over film and different things while they're traveling and basically turn that dead time into working time? And then this is what I would do as a coach. I would turn that to working time. And then when we landed, it'd be like, guys, let's go play for a day, and let's go see this
Right.
city and, try and
Yeah, I
like
think they
make it
have
fun
to.
for them.
But I think that's where it's going to come down to the coaches and the management, right? So what accommodations do they have that includes air travel and living when they get to these different places, right? And I think that making the most out of time that you can't be doing something else, like having your team meetings or maybe your one-on-ones or your VOD reviews during flights or during different times when you get somewhere and all of that. But you also have to factor in jet lag, and then you get to a new city and you have to have enough time to kind of acclimate before you go on stage. And then you look at like, what are these players' sleep cycles anyways, right? I mean, they're not getting up at 6 in the morning probably, but maybe they can keep the same sleep cycle.
Well, and like you say planes, but I don't think you can factor out trains in certain situations, bus rides. Like, do you think that the LA teams are going to take a plane every time to San Francisco? I mean, they probably would Dallas, but do you think they will do that for San Fran? I just don't. I just don't know. That could be another place where teams decide to hit the bottom line.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, cutting costs in some areas is going to be necessary to have money for other areas, right? So if it means I don't even know how far away San Francisco is, 3 hours or something.
I'm not positive. It's 3 to 5, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's not a horrible bus ride or whatever, but I think it more gets down to the international travel. I think is what is going to affect players more and burn out players more than the local US travel. Just in my opinion.
Well, just like I said, from a little advice for you kids, trips to Europe and overseas, coming from someone who just took one, is really expensive. So you take these opportunities and you just don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That this, I believe, is part of your wage. You're getting to do some amazing things, and yeah, it's going to be rough. But I'm interested to see as the season goes on to talk to some of the players and coaches involved in the league and see how they feel afterwards. Because right now we could just speculate because this has never been done before. I do think maybe they should have done the original plan they were supposed to do and have two leagues, one over in the East and one over in the West. I mean, that was the original plan, is for there to be a USA only league, and like that would have made regional travel a lot easier and a lot less taxing on the players. I mean, if the NBA can travel as much as they can, then these guys playing games can too.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think the international travel is what's going to get to people, but I also think it may have been their initial thought. I don't think they had the teams for it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty positive it was their initial thought when Nate Dancer first came on to Chan Man's show. He definitely said that was the plan, and so I believe that was the initial plan, and then they just decided to make one. I don't know what would have been more successful or not. It's a little too late to like speculate now. So, oh well.
Yeah.
Moving on. The last thing I want to talk about before we get into the spicy drama is what effect do you think home stands will have on the teams? Because Dallas has 5, whereas almost everybody else only has 2.
Yeah. No, there's a team in each division that has 5.
Washington and
Guangzhou,
no,
Charge.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Fuel has like Washington has. I'm not sure if it's 5, but I'm pretty sure Fuel has the most. I was watching some tweet Hastro sent out the other day, and pretty sure he said we have the most. I
N-
could be wrong, but
No, there's multiple teams with 5.
I don't think so. I think like Guangzhou and Washington might have 3 or 4. But either way, what I'm talking about is the teams that have 2 and the teams that have multiple. So I don't care who is which. Tell me what you think and how this is going to impact their chances to have a better season, or not
Oh,
a better season.
It's so hard to tell. I mean, I do feel like having more homestands is a benefit. One, in the fact that you are home more often, and so people are coming to you and you don't have that travel time in between. So it may help with burnout. It also, you have fans cheering for you. And I think that that always helps. It gets you pumped for the next round of games. And I think that's what's going to kind of be the difference maker. I also think they're only going to be good if the team management and resources are good. So I think we know Fuel can put on a good event,
Hell yeah,
right?
they can.
But what are these other homestands going to look like? And what happens if hardly anybody comes? Then what does that do to your morale? You know?
Yeah, no, you come out, and it's like
You're
it's
like, woohoo!
it's
Oh,
like a failing farm baseball team where it's like
yeah.
5 fans are like, "We love you, Josh."
I don't know. I feel like that's more detrimental than the ups you'll have with when people come.
Well, and I don't know that the season opener for the Dallas Fuel has even sold out yet. I'm getting emails offering tickets for a cheaper price, and all of these, like, they're saying, since you came to the last one, can will you come for a cheaper price? And so I'm not even sure that they've sold that out yet, and that's only 2 weeks off. So that's a
Where
little
is
scary. I believe it's the
where
same
is their first
place we
stand?
went, the place that holds like 4K,
I mean, that's huge.
but it sold out last year.
Right, but last year there was only one opportunity to see them for the entire year, and you had also gone an entire year without being able to see them at all, unless you went to LA. This year there's 4 opportunities. So if you're busy this first one, you're just waiting for the next one maybe. You know what I mean?
True, true. But I think you brought up something I hadn't really thought of either. Like last year, the homestands were undoubtedly better for the teams, at least the non-LA teams. And I don't even feel like the LA teams, like, they're going to be able to finally grow their fan base now that all the other teams are leaving. And it's kind of a bummer for LA that there were 2 of them, and like there were so
Yeah.
many people torn to other teams. And I mean, LA is full of people from everywhere else. Like, that's why they could never keep an NFL team. I know they now have 2 right now, but whether they stay there or not, they've failed multiple times before. So LA is a
Well,
land of people from other lands
correct. And it was a lot easier for people from other lands to root for their homeland team
because they were there.
because all the games were there.
Yep.
It'll be easier for them to root for one of the LA teams now, new fans, I guess, coming in to root for the LA team because the amount of time that they're going to see the other teams is much lower.
Yep. Yeah, I think yeah, I think they'll have a much better opportunity to grow a larger fan base, but it definitely was exciting. I hope the home stands do good. I am definitely worried because last year they had to do the marketing stuff to sell out 3 home stands, and now they're gonna have to do the legwork to sell out. What's it? How many total is there? God, I
Oh,
don't even
God.
know the math,
Yeah. Don't.
but
A
yeah,
lot.
dozens. So
But
we'll
it's more on the teams this year, I think. I mean, it was on the teams last year, but Blizzard had a very invested interest in making sure that they did what they were supposed to do too. It's more on the teams this year on get your fans there, get the marketing done. We can't babysit all 30 teams.
which makes me a little worried about the quality in some locations.
Well, I think they'll still have control over the certain aspects of it. I don't think they're just going to let everybody do whatever they want. There's regulations and like standards they have to hit,
Yeah, true.
I'm assuming.
There'll probably be certain things. I do remember them mentioning that you had to have the screens up above. You had to have the screens in front of the players to show the face cams. There were definite things that I've read that you do have to have, but still doesn't mean that the quality is going to be like that. Dallas home stand was like a rock concert, like they're
Yeah,
shooting
for sure.
shirts into the crowd. There's pyrotechnics. Like, I mean, it was just wild. Same with Atlanta. And so can they do that every week? What kind of cost does that incur? But they definitely, the people that did the home stands made money last year, and maybe
Yeah,
the other teams didn't, and this is a good opportunity for them to hit their bottom line.
for sure. I mean, it's in their interest, I think, to make it big. There's no reason for them to rent out a stadium and then not make any money.
All right, well, let's move into the spicy drama. Dafran, who this comment, like I didn't get, but Dafran had a little Twitter battle with Malik. Now Dafran went on a stream and just basically, said the names of everybody who had left, and Malik was the most recent to say that he was not coming back. Dafran said, "I don't like any of these guys. These guys are like the Gucci of Al Casters." And he was saying that Gucci was like the high dollar fancy pants type of thing. What was interesting is Malik tweeted
He's saying
back to
high
him.
dollar, bad quality.
Yeah. And then Malik tweeted at him after hearing that clip and said, "I can't believe you would say this. Do you know how racist Gucci is?" And I was like, I didn't know how racist Gucci is.
I
It's like,
didn't either.
that's news to me, but okay. But that was besides the point. Then he goes back and forth with Dafran about how it was, I forget, I don't want to quote it because I forget exactly, but it basically we're talking money, and Malik was saying that they didn't come to a price that was good for him, and it was
I mean,
it was a big drama.
There was a lot of drama. It was Malik saying that it was a good price, but it wasn't what he needed, right? Or what he wanted. And there was a lot of banter back and forth about, just nitpicking into what words mean exactly. And I think overall they ended it very cordially. And, I think Malik said, "Don't be a Redditor or something behind your computer." And, Dufresne said, "You're right. My bad."
Well, yeah, I was saying, I don't think that you're a different person when you get behind your computer. And I just have to say,
Right.
Dufresne's allowed to have his opinion. If he doesn't like you, dude, he doesn't like you. Like, I thought personally when, like, less is more. When I heard Malik wasn't coming back, I mean, you heard me on the show last week talking about, oh God, can you imagine him hosting everyone? And then when he came out with him quitting, I was just like, hallelujah, hallelujah. And I just was singing that all day. Like, sorry, like you as a person, you're super nice every time I've met you. Don't like what you do with the Overwatch League. Don't like your hosting. You got better, but still not even close to Puckett or Golden Boy. And I'm sorry, like there's a ton of people that dislike me, and you don't see me attacking them on Twitter. Like, they're allowed to not like my stuff. It's totally normal.
Yeah, I think there was some additional comments said from what I can gather, but I don't think Malik's not one that consistently attacks people that say things about him on Twitter. I think it just something came off wrong and just kind of hit him the wrong way and he snapped back. But it's
Or it
not
was
only
like
Malik that he was talking about. He said he does not like Monte Cristo
well,
at all.
I mean, Monty is definitely an acquired taste. I guarantee anybody who takes the time to get to know Monty is going to like him. Like, you're just going to. And liking him on stage is two different things. Like he's not playing himself. He's playing a part. He's playing a role. Every time I talked to Puckett, he wasn't like, "Hey Bob, back from the Overwatch League. How you doing? I'll recap." You know, like he wasn't doing that because that's
I mean, there was a couple times. No, I'm just kidding.
but it's you know, like if you take the time to get to know Monty and Monty lets you get to know him, then you're probably gonna like him. But I mean, the guy is very popular, gets attacked quite often, and I mean, Dafran probably has never talked to him. Dafran is actually pretty awkward in person and just a really nice
I
guy,
don't think
but
he's
very
awkward. I think
awkward.
he's shy.
Yeah,
I think he's a
well,
lot
I mean, isn't
shyer
that?
than. No, that's
I
not
guess
the
it's not
same.
the same thing.
But I do. I think he's shy. But he's not as shy on his stream by any stretch. So I think you heard some of that. And he also talked bad about Semler. He's not a fan of Semler. But the big thing about the Overwatch League talent is that they're supposed to come out in the next few days, week maybe, with who the new talent is.
There's some major opportunities coming up for a
And
lot of people.
announce if all of the current talent that hasn't said they're leaving is staying.
Please, Uber, please, I can't live without you. Please don't go.
I think Uber will be there.
I hope so.
But
and Hex,
yeah,
you know
I
Hex.
mean-
Hex is there to like pull him away scratching and screaming.
I mean, who all haven't they confirmed? Hex, Uber, Mr. X, Zoe.
Zoe works for Blizzard though, so I don't see her going anywhere. Like the rest of them are contracted talent.
Is there anybody else? Am I missing anybody?
You're missing oh my gosh, I'm horrible. I'm blanking. The two guys that are probably going to Korea.
Oh, Achilleos and Wolf.
Wolf, yep.
Yeah. So we'll hear if they are staying and hopefully hear what their plan is and what the new talent is.
Well, we at least know we get Jake and ZP, and I don't know about everybody else's opinion, but I can't wait to see ZP in the Overwatch League. I mean, the guy has worked really hard. You know, there's some stuff said behind closed doors about him that I don't know if it's true or not, but he's worked so hard, and it's nice to see him actually making it. I'd love to see Vast come on. You know, like I think he would be great. I think he would be a great host. Like
Yeah,
to take over for Puckett, I think that would be awesome. And then you'd also have a host that really knows a lot about the game, and I think that would be great.
I don't know. He moved the Houston Outlaws up a few in the power rankings on Twitter today, so I like him a little bit better right now.
So he's your new friend. I tell you, and
Oh,
that
no.
guy can talk, man. Like I talked to him at the Atlanta after party, and man, I couldn't get a word in. But I mean, it was good talk. But he could definitely keep a conversation rolling. So perfect host, in my humble opinion. But it might be Custa. Custa might
That's true.
just roll right into host, and
I don't know if Gus is ready for that, but maybe.
I don't know if he's ready for it, but I think he definitely has some raw talent there that would quickly turn into really good, hosting. I think that could be great.
Yeah, we'll see.
But what do you think about Malik leaving? You haven't really said your opinion.
I don't know. I mean, Malik wasn't my favorite. He wasn't my least favorite. He grew on
Who
me a
was your
little
least
bit. It
favorite?
didn't.
On the spot.
I don't know.
That guy
maybe
from
he was
season
my
1 that
least
didn't come
favorite.
back.
Yeah, right. But I think he wasn't awful. Okay, so like the unknown scares me a little bit more.
He wasn't awful, but I mean, think about every time they tried to do something cute and zany or fun with the cast.
He didn't seem natural. He seemed like
when,
if things went off script, he froze
lost
up.
it, froze,
Yeah.
freaked out, got a little maybe angry with the different people. Like, Reinforced coming out dressed as Gandalf. I thought was hilarious, but Malik did not think it was hilarious. And it was all over his face, where as Puckett
Right.
could have just handled that with ease.
Right. But I think that comes with experience too, though. I think Puckett's been in a lot of situations where he's moderated different things and he can go roll with the punches, right? And I think Malik was trying to do his best. And when you're trying to do your best, initially you have a script and you want to follow it because you know that that's how it's going to be. And then you can start to kind of veer off script. So I do think that Malik could have gotten a lot better in season 3. But I think there's also other people out there that may come in and really surprise me. I know I didn't really like Golden Boy when he first started, and I loved him by the end. And Blake didn't have quite that quick of a turnaround for me.
You're right. I definitely wasn't a huge fan of Golden Boy in that first week or two, but then he definitely grew on me hard. But I mean, that was that was the first couple weeks of season 1. You know what I mean?
Right.
No,
it was like the last half of season 1, I think.
Yeah, and then the stage 1 finals. But I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of groundwork before to really give anybody any indication of what you should do. It was kind of pioneered by these guys, whereas Malik had a great teacher. But I don't know. I don't really want to talk about Malik anymore. He's gone. I hope good luck in the future doing whatever else you do, brother. And we're hoping for someone else. So let's talk about the last thing, which has been a hot ticket on Twitter, Reddit, all over YouTube. Our friends over at Your Overwatch, Frito's already done 2 videos on it. And you can tell how excited he is when his voice shivers. And so there might be hero bans coming in season 2 of the Overwatch League.
We already had season 2. It would probably be in season 3.
Season 3, you're right. Season 3. Season 2 just kind of forgot about. It was a whole lot of
Oh, by the way, did you see that Overwatch League released a Brigitte goat skin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And did you see the copy pasta?
No.
Where Twitter, somebody said, I didn't watch most of season 2 Overwatch competitive because of goats. This skin is what was the word? Revolting to me or something, or offends me. I can't believe you would even put it in the game, and then a bunch of people copy pasted it. It was pretty.
Oh
it was
my
pretty
God.
funny, but.
Listen, I appreciate that they are embracing the meme.
They're being funny, I guess, but they could have made the skin, I don't know, maybe a little uglier. Just something, or
What if when you put it on, she dissolved into thin air and was no longer there?
and then she just changes to a different hero.
If you put on the
You just
goat
can't do
skin,
it.
she becomes Hanzo. Sorry.
Well, but no. Emong teased on his stream that there was a big change coming. Frito from Your Overwatch took it as possible hero bans. And then the guy that leaked the Overwatch 2 stuff also said that they'd be looking into doing this, but he said it was a different source that told him. And Frito brought up a good point, is that there would have been more leaks to us, you would think, to content creators and stuff, that this was coming, because 222 there was, and there hasn't really been anybody coming out saying sources say this and that. So I'm just wondering if they are coming out with it, did they tell the teams?
Well, the thing is 2 things. 1, we don't know if they are coming out with it.
Definitely not.
And 2, we don't know, even if they do come out with it, if it will be an Overwatch League the beginning.
See, and I think it will if it does come out, it'll hit Overwatch League before it hits the game.
Okay, you
And
also
it
thought that
might
about
not
222.
ever, it also might not ever hit the game either. Like it could
Correct.
just be something for Overwatch League, but then why would Emong be excited about it? Don't
Right.
see him like spending a lot of time watching pro matches, you know.
Yeah, and I mean maybe he does, but it's still not going to help his game.
Yeah, it's just it seems a little weird. But if they did do it, what people have been suggesting, like Huck thought, you know, like one hero every map for each team, a max of 5 heroes. So so each team could take one hero away from the other team.
No, away from both teams. So most people, when they talk about the role or the hero bans, they talk about you banning a hero from you choosing it or them choosing it.
See, and I don't know if that should be. I don't know if that should be the way it is, or if it should be just you get to ban a hero on their team, and they get to ban a hero on your team. I don't know which one would be better. Because
I think
if you ban
historically
both
with
sides,
bans,
if you ban
yeah.
if you ban the hero on both sides, then all of a sudden you get even, you know, more chance at more mirror matches.
Right, but I think strategically you're looking at if I ban a hero, I have to be willing to play without that hero as well.
Yeah. I mean, I could
You
see
know,
it. I could see it both ways, and I honestly wish there was some more testing I could see, like those like, you know, semi-pro tournaments Jane was doing. I wish I could see more of that with a bunch of different rule sets in, because I'm just not really sure how it would play out in each scenario, and it kind of makes me just a little wary of it. But the big thing I thought about is you would definitely need to have these bans for the league. I mean, they would need to turn in their hero bans, you know, a good few days before the match that they're going to play in. Because if you just walk out on stage and the hero's banned and your players can't talk to your coach, and you might have even sent your you know your Doomfist specialist in, and then they ban Doom. Like then the players have to figure it out, and it takes so much out of the hands of the coaches. I think that
see,
could be
I
super
disagree with a
detrimental.
few days in advance. I don't think that that's helpful. I feel like you need to ban a hero right before the match, but before they put their lineup out there. And I think that that plays into strategy, right? Like you have to coach your team on what to do if this hero gets banned and what to do if this hero gets banned. It's not like
I think that's
they're
too
going to
much,
come
though.
out. I disagree. I think that you don't put your widow specialist out there until you know they didn't ban widow.
Yeah, but I think you need more than just an hour, you know, to prep your team. And then you might have even had, you know, like say you're traveling, you might have even left somebody at home that you then needed.
Yeah, but that's part of there's going to be bans. So if you chose to leave somebody at home, then you're saying okay. It's just like, hey, what if somebody gets hurt on the bus ride to the stadium? You know what I mean? Like you chose to leave somebody at home. And I think it's very similar. Like one thing Huck said was like looking at it in football, like you don't get to always see your best player play their role because they're double teamed the whole time. But them not getting to engage in, catching the ball means that there's other things that are being opened up.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can see that. I just feel like there needs to be a a good chunk of time before, maybe not a couple days, but a good chunk of time before. I think it'll be an extreme mess if it's they come out on stage and can ban right there. Like I think that'll be bad and just take a lot of power out of coaches' hands. And when your players already have to remember a ton, like the more and more you pile on top of them, they'll be like, well, what are we supposed to do if this happens again? I can't remember. It's just, and then that's more
Well,
stress
and
for them.
I mean, there's also been thrown around, does the loser get to ban the first player or the first hero next map, kind of like choosing your map.
Yeah, and see, I think teams should have to submit their bans without knowing what the other team banned, and I think that they should find out after they both submit, and I think it should only ban the one hero from each team. I don't think them banning a
Every
hero.
map?
Yeah, every
Just
map.
one hero?
Yeah, just one on each side, whichever one that team chose for the opponent.
You're crazy. I mean, everything I've heard is like banning an additional hero every map. So like by the end, you're down 5 heroes by the last map or by the 5th map if you get there.
That would be cool too, but I don't want to see mirrors. I don't want to see if I ban Diva, then I lose Diva also. I want there to be a lot, because that would bring a lot more strategy for coaches. They'd be like, I wonder if they're going to ban this. I bet they'll never guess I'm going to ban this, and so just send in your bans prior, and then they just lock out as the time goes on. That's even more interesting if you think about this, if it's the way you're talking about where you ban somebody, if they add up and you ban somebody and it gets banned from your team, that means there'll be 10 heroes off of both teams by the end of it. And I don't know how good that is at all. But if it's the way I'm talking, it'd be 5 on each
alternating too. They had talked about alternating. So like the home team had home team advantage and they'd get to ban for the first map, and then the away team would get to ban the hero for the second map, but they'd have the hero from the first map and the hero from the second map banned.
I could see that being kind of cool.
I think I think it was Fredo who was talking about the best thing that this would do is if you ban heroes and you just keep banning them with maps, right? So eventually you're down 4 or 5 heroes. It forces people to get more of an identity as opposed to playing exactly what the best meta is, right? Because if there's one point in the best meta that gets taken out, there's not just a simple substitute that you can put in there all the time, right? So you take Mei out of the meta right now, and it's a completely different composition, and you can run a lot of different compositions against it.
It would definitely force, just by like sheer accident, like new metas to form, because be like, oh, I didn't even think about this. And you would also see sometimes people just really popping off because there's not really a soft counter for them on the board left. And like just think you get to the end and Farah's still there, but there's no hit scan left to shoot her. I mean, that could be
Right.
could be really bad or it could be really interesting. I just don't know yet. But I still think that like it would be cool if they just submitted them prior. I think it'd be really bad too if like you just submit your first ban and then on the second map they just have to ban. And like then somebody is on fire on Sombra or on Widow and you just ban them right there, and then we don't get to see them shine for the rest of that match. And it just kind of would kill the excitement of it. Whereas if you knew your bans ahead of time, you could plan to have the right personnel in.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. There's pros and cons each way.
Yeah.
I think too much preparing kind of negates some of the fun aspect of banning.
Yeah. But boy, it would just cause a lot of. I feel like I would be super angry if one of my favorite players was killing it, then they banned, the 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 tune that he was playing, and then all of a sudden things start falling apart. I don't know. I think just knowing prior would be great, and then it would also be a lot less confusing. The casters could say, okay, this is how the match stayed. We've got this band for this map, and we've got this band for this map, and this band for this map. Let's see how it goes. It would be up front for us to see and be like, oh shit, they banned so and so in the third map. Okay, I gotta check this out. It make
But
it
they
so
do
interesting.
that, and then they could just practice a comp that didn't have any of those 5 heroes in it, and then we get the same comp every single map.
But then the next week, someone would be like, "Oh, well, they did this." If they're doing their proper homework, they'd be like, "Oh, well, they did this. They did these bands the last 3 weeks. I bet they're gonna do those. Like, let's do this." I don't know. I think it could definitely, and especially with them being in different regions, the bands could be super exciting for this year. And I mean, let's face it. With everything that's going on, this is definitely a make or break year for the Overwatch League. It's getting a little weird, and the commissioner, God, where he just needs to come out and do something, or they need to bring in a new commissioner or something.
Well, he did come out and said some things about Monty.
Oh yeah, he came out and said that Monty was really upset about this. Because he said he came out with an announcement of an announcement. And
he basically came out and said something about, like, we didn't ask all of the casters to come back. And it implied that
they let them go instead
they let them go instead of, and he didn't state, who or what, and Monty was really angry about it, but Monty's angry about a lot.
Yeah.
Monty also joined Cloud9.
I know, I saw that. I didn't catch, he had some new show on, was it yesterday? But I did not catch it.
I didn't either. But yeah, we'll see. We don't know if hero bands are coming, so wait and see.
Yeah, we'll just have to see, and if it does come, I want to talk about it and how it's actually going to work. I really want to see what that goes into. If they do announce it, maybe we can get Frito to come on and talk about it, because I know he'd be dying to talk more about it. But
what do you think Frito's hot take is going to be if they implement hero bans? Because we had 222, and then we had hero bans. So I feel like Frito's going to have to come up with another, big thing to do.
yeah, he's going to be like, well, what do I complain about now? But he'll always find ways to continue to improve the game. That's just something that he does, So we'll look forward to that, and it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode today, guys. We're going to be closing out the show. I would like to get you guys to follow us on Twitter @AlRecap. If you want to say something a little longer, send your emails to contact@alrecap.com. If you want to catch us live every week, you can catch us on twitch.tv/AlRecap. We should be back to Monday night next week, but we're probably going to be doing the show a little earlier than normal. Watch our Twitter for the announcement of us going live. You can also join our Discord to get updates on when we go live. That's discord.me/OmnicLab. All right, there's some other stuff, but for tonight, I'm just going to close out the show. And Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter @MelOverwatch.
And you can find me on Twitter @Blazzin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. We look forward to the start of the season. There's been some bad, there's been some good, but we're looking forward. We'll see you next week.
Bye.